Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hello, Lewis.
To the Triforce
Hi.
podcast. Hello, Sips.
Hi.
How are you?
Hello, Sips.
I'm good. Hi, Pyrian. Hi.
Hi, Pyrian.
Hi, Lewis.
Hi,
Hi.
Ted. Hi, Chris.
Hi,
How
guys.
are you guys?
Hi,
how are you
Lewis.
guys doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing good.
How are you doing, Sips? AKA
Yeah,
Chris?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for
doing good?
asking. I
Oh,
hope
you're
you guys are
welcome.
good too.
I'm doing good.
Oh, good. How about that weather, eh?
Oh,
Fog.
Oh, never stops. Jeez, just need the
Is
summer
this-
now.
I feel like there's weather every day now. What's happening?
It's always weather.
It's
It's
just
the weapons.
weather.
It's
It's
the
there's
weather
weather
weapons.
every
They're deploying
day.
them all over the place now. It's not
Yeah.
even just in the US and A anymore.
The US and A.
And A, yeah.
The US and A. That's the United States and assholes.
That's the one.
Did you guys? So this is something I forgot to mention about New Year. Right, when I was at New Year, we were in Spain, and they have this thing. I don't know if you know this, where they eat
They speak
grapes
Spanish?
they eat grapes at the New Year.
Oh, how exciting.
they
Wow.
eat grapes.
In time with the bongs.
Right.
The bongs that go off, I guess 12. So they have
Big
12
bongs.
grapes.
12 bongs.
And which I guess is like the Big Ben bongs. It's a whole mishmash of the culture, isn't it? That whole thing. It's
The
all very
culture.
confusing. Everyone has their own
different
like thing they
culture.
do. We sing Auld Lang Syne for some reason.
Well, that's a song
Old
about
Man's
New
Eye, you
Year's,
mean?
isn't it? Old Man's Eye.
It's-
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Is it about New Year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should old acquaintance be forgot?
Oh, well, okay, maybe it is.
And
then. But-
never left to rot.
But it's so horrible. Well, the thing is, that didn't happen. It was like I was at a hotel full of English tourists on that night, and they didn't do an Auld Lang Syne, and I was like kind of disappointed. But everyone else had their own little things. Like some people were dancing around, and some people were shaking everyone's hands. It was all like I wasn't sure what was.
Did
like, it
you?
was
You weren't there for Christmas though, so you missed out on all the Feliz Navidades. didn't you?
Feliz Navidad.
it's a tune. No,
Feliz Navidad.
I like it. Honestly, I can.
Feliz Navidad de cumpleaños y felicidad. Something like that.
I did say that to a few people
Oh,
in
yeah?
the street.
Did
You
you?
know,
I think
Oh,
that's
that's
a mixture
nice.
of I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
kind of.
That's nice.
Kind of
I want to
ironically,
wish you a Merry Christmas.
think
Isn't that one?
I sort of said it in a kind of like jokey tone. Like, there was a guy like stood by his like bike that he'd crashed into something, and it was like sat on the floor. And
Right.
he looked at
And
me,
you
and I was
said-
like, "Oh,
I'm just
Feliz
gonna-
Navidad."
Wait,
I'm
you
just
said
gonna
it
do-
at that moment.
English to Spanish. I'm doing a Google Translate here. I want to know. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Yeah. Quiero desearte una feliz Navidad.
Yeah.
Is
I
that what
wish I
you were
had
saying to
learned
people?
Spanish. I learned, spent ages learning German and French. I don't really want to go there.
No.
They're both great countries.
Yeah.
I know.
Exciting.
Do you want
Exciting.
some
Weather's nicer in Spain.
Birdwatch 2025 news from Flax's? I've got a new bird thing going on. Okay,
Okay, a new bird thing. Right,
bird
go on.
thing going on. Not
This is like
birds.
the Triforce's answer to Country File.
Yes, that's what it's going to be.
Right.
I have my office
We
window.
know how old we are.
My office window
Yeah.
I tend to have open because I've got quite a lot of equipment in a relatively small room and it pumps out a lot of heat, so I have the window open, especially when I've got the door closed. And because it's January and the pigeons are thinking, oh, we're going to be having babies soon, better find somewhere to nest. There are these wood pigeons that keep flying up and landing on my windowsill, and I'm only a few feet from the window, and I look at them and they look at me, and they're just sort of hanging out. And I think they think, oh, that would be a cracking place for a nest. But this husband bird, the male bird, he turned up, and then his wife turned up, and she had a look in at the same time, and I could see her thinking, it's a bit big for what we need, isn't it? And he was like, well, no, it's, we could, room to expand. Look, we could put an extra room in there. She's like, no. So she hasn't come back, but he keeps coming back. That's it.
Right.
They are so intelligent, really. A lot of people think these are just rats with wings, but they're
I
not.
like pigeons. Also,
Yeah,
these are
they're-
pigeons. These aren't rock doves. The
I
pigeons,
love,
quote unquote pigeons you see in Trafalgar Square are rock doves. They're not pigeons. These
I love
are
when
pigeons.
they
Right.
walk and their head has to move every time they
Yeah,
take a step.
what is up with
I
that?
love that. Yeah,
It's
just-
like the
I find that
wagtail.
Yeah,
The wagtail, their tail has to wag. It
Yeah.
makes me laugh every time.
yeah. You just got to make sure, if you like pigeons a lot and you are letting them into your house, you should never let them into your house. But if you do, for whatever reason, or you decide to keep them or whatever, be warned, their poop is quite toxic and can overwhelm and kill you.
Really?
Especially if there's
Right.
lots of it. Yeah. That they always say, like if if somebody's like working on an old barn or like a place where a pigeon would typically like to nest, or a lot of them would like to nest and call home, you got to be careful. Like a loft or whatever, if they pooped everywhere, their poop can be quite toxic. You have to be careful.
So here's why. It's because it gets linked to a fungus called Cryptococcus.
Right.
That's
not
God.
cryptocurrency. This is a different crypto.
Cryptococcus.
I think that's the other name for Elon Musk.
Yeah, exactly. Cryptococcus Musk. That's his
Cryptococcus.
Latin name. Elon Musk.
That was his hardcore character in Path of Exile before it died.
Oh my God. Can we talk about that, please?
Do we have to?
Just briefly, because
Sure.
I just want to say, if you are going to pull the wool over people's eyes, I genuinely think the one group of people who that's never going to work on is hardcore gamers,
Yeah.
because they take their game so seriously,
Yeah.
and they're so online. He live streamed himself, clearly not knowing how to play this game.
Yeah.
Like, clearly. And
yeah.
what did he think was going to happen?
He
These
had
are not voters. These are gamers. There's a big difference.
He had a top 10 hardcore character. To put that into context, the people who are top 10 hardcore have played basically every waking moment the game has been out.
Yeah.
Like, no time to do anything else. Like, they are shitting and pissing in a trough next to their computer and stuff. Like, it is like the most hardcore.
It is insane.
And he was number 6 or something. So
He was not.
It's actually impossible.
Yeah.
I think one of the I said this somewhere else, but one of the things he said back in the day was he just doesn't have time for anything, and so even like his whole bullshit of like, oh, I don't even have time to have sex with a woman, so I'm just going to get her pregnant, get her to go to a clinic.
Yeah,
it's quicker for me to just wank off and give it to her in a tub. Like, what kind of, and how has he got time to do 1,000 hours of Path of Exile 2?
It's insane.
It's not possible.
It's a
He's
lie
got a
that you
team
could
of like
see through
4 people
at an instant.
running it for him.
You could, but
being paid.
Like, even things like he had his maps saved as Elon's maps.
Yes,
which was
he
like,
had the pair
did
of
you do
gloves. The pair of gloves that his character was using. He commented at one point. He said, "Oh, these gloves are only level 52, and I'm level whatever 90 or whatever, so they're kind of low level." Those gloves are the best build enabling gloves in the whole game. Best in slot. Yeah. Then they're not like mega difficult to get, but they're out of reach of people who are just playing the game for the first time or whatever, like.
Yeah. I look at some of these people who post on these subreddits, right? And I played the game. I played Path of Exile for 1,000 hours. Okay. And there's people who are doing. I went on Reddit like once, and there was a guy who did one run. Yeah. It was like a TikTok kind of like clip of him just going through a thing.
Yeah,
and he got more loot in that thing, like 100 times more loot in that thing than I'd ever got in 1,000 hours. The people at this high level are on a completely different level to regular people.
Yeah,
and there's no way Elon Musk is of all the games to pick.
I know.
Right?
Well,
he could, like, if he picked Civilization 6. We would never have known, right? If he picked any reasonable game, but imagine if he picked Dota, we would know. You cannot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I guess it's just tied into his ego, or he just has to be seen as being great at these things that maybe he holds in some esteem.
Well, I think in his head, though, here's how it works. In his head, he thinks if I had the time, I would be this good, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, I can pay someone and then act like I'm this good, right?
Right.
That's the delusion that like sets root in his head. That I am talented. I am skilled at this. I'm a natural. And I could be. I'm just taking the shortcut there because I don't want to waste my time. My time's valuable. I'm saving the world, guys. I can't be sat here on my ass playing Path of Exile 2 like you losers every day.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Oh God, I've played so much of it so far. I've been playing it a lot. It is frustrating, but also very addictive and quite good as well. But I've enjoyed this more than I enjoyed
You're
the
worse
first
than
one.
Elon Musk at it, though. So consider that.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
he's far superior.
He's better.
He
than
is.
you at
Yeah,
this.
even when he's not lying, he's probably better than me at it. But what can you do, eh? But no, it's been fun. There's a big patch coming out for today, actually, that's going to fix a bunch of stuff. So that'll be good too. Exciting times.
I've been playing single player Tarkov.
Yeah, that's fun. That is really fun.
But this is the full mod for single player Tarkov.
Oh.
So there's two versions. There's the PvE mode, which is the official Battlestate Games single player version.
That's the one I was playing, and I enjoyed
which was
that.
fun. I enjoyed it. This is so much better.
Is it?
Yes. I've installed it and a bunch of other mods to go with it. And it feels like Tarkov, like really does. The fights are really fun. It's like the AI is pretty good. Genuinely, at times you're like, holy shit, they're like flanking me, and it's you can adjust it so you can make it easy, you can make it harder, you can make the loot scarcer, you can make more of it, and you can add like little quality of life mods. The one I've got is a fucking map in the top right corner.
Oh, that's nice.
Like a mini map, and then you can bring it full screen. It'll show you where you need to go for your quests. Where are the extracts? Where are you on the map? Which is so much. It's so useful.
Nice.
So I couldn't recommend it enough. I've been playing that for the last couple of weeks. Or maybe not even.
Yeah, I played it a couple of months back. I was playing the PvE one, not modded. And,
it was fun enough, right?
Yeah, it was fun. We had a couple of groups. There was the usual, team killing and fucking wild goons just like getting one-shotting you from halfway across the map.
Oh my god, yeah.
But I mean, all in all, though, it was fun, and it was nice and chill. Like you didn't have that layer of brick in it, knowing that Super Chad was out there hiding in the bushes with his meta defining, meta breaking loadout and everything.
Yeah.
It was a nice change for sure. A nice change of pace. I appreciated it.
I would like to see your mod list. Is it on your stream?
Me?
So you could
So I've only got about 8 mods installed at the moment. Maybe not even that. I'll tell you what I've got. I mean, there's
just
a bunch.
For me personally.
So there's one called Swag/Donuts, which everyone's waiting on that to be updated.
Swag/Donuts.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know why it's called. I think it's the two guys that made it, but it's basically like a mod that adjusts how the enemies spawn and where and what kind of stuff they do.
Okay, all right. Okay,
so I've got one. If you guys have played Tarkov, called Continuous Healing. So when lots of bits of you are damaged and you go to heal it, and it takes out the medkit, heals that one thing, carefully puts the medkit away, load of wank. You just keep the medkit out, and he just heals everything all in one go, which is nice. Check marks. So every item has a little check mark, and you mouse over it, it shows you need 3 of these to build this item in your hideout. You need 2 of these for this quest. You need 4 of these for that, which is good. A progressive bot system. So the bots, it's called Acid Phantasm's progressive bot system, levels up. The bots level up with you.
This is so weird. Even I'm like thinking, why would you go from this multiplayer experience back to a single player experience? Like,
well, I think just having more control over some of the parameters and stuff. I mean, you can't control how good other people are, but you can fine tune a single player experience to fit what you're looking for at the time. I think it makes a lot of sense.
No, it does. I think it's.
I mean, I'll give an example of what it's done for me, especially when I played the PvE mode. But even now, when I'm playing this playthrough, Tarkov is a genuinely fantastic game. It really is, and it's got the feel to the world and the guns and the fighting and everything. Even just the medical system, the way you're sort of desperately bandaging up, and then as you advance, you get better armor, you get stims, so you can fight longer and you don't take damage, all that kind of stuff. I didn't get to experience that in the PvP game because I'm just not good enough.
No.
And because there's no matchmaking and there's no lobby system, you are thrown in with the top Tarkov players in Europe could well be on your server. And then you throw that hackers and stuff like that on top of that. It's just so difficult. And so there was a huge amount of the game that was gatekept from me by my own skill that I've now been able to explore. I learned labs. I've never fucking learned labs before.
I mean, I've never stepped foot in labs. Right. Labs is like the sweatiest map in the whole game.
Well, now
that's where all like the turbo nerds go and
and all the
farm
hackers,
and stuff,
and all the loot hoovering guys.
Yeah.
So now with the single player, I got to explore that map, and it's a great map. Like I'm fighting bosses, I'm trying to take them on. So it feels like I've been able to adjust the game so that it's hard enough for someone of my skill level that I am feeling challenged and having fun, and not thinking, oh, I bet that guy was hacking, or that was desync between me and the server. The server is running on my PC. Like it's a little server client that runs on your PC, and then you play a version of Tarkov that attaches to that server. So it's all you. There's no desync. It's much better.
I think when you're playing against other people who are just, in another league better than you at the game, the thing that hurts the most is you just feel like your time has been wasted. By the time, and the thing is, like, playing Tarkov not PvE on your own or with friends or whatever, the time to get into a map is long. There's lots of loading and waiting and lobby and stuff like that. And then only to just get in and then just get instantly killed by somebody who, again, just knows the game way better than you, knows where you're going to spawn, probably is waiting for you, ready to kill you and take your stuff. And you've just wasted half an hour of your time.
Yeah.
For nothing. You don't learn anything from it. You're not going to get better from that, or it sucks. Sucks.
Is it also in the back of your mind that there might be people hacking or cheating?
You can't help but think sometimes, yeah. But I mean,
it's probably only a small percentage of people, right? But it's
there are, small, it's just at this point, it's quite an old game as well, isn't it? It's not new.
I see. So the people who are playing it are playing it.
It's been out for years, and those people have just been playing it for that long. And they just know all these little tricks and, ways to get ahead because they're used to playing against people who are on their level. So, I walk into a map and it's just free junk for them. It's a free kill. It's free stuff. Like, I'm never going to take one of those guys down.
Do you know what I think is weird is it's really only video games where people get kind of, I guess, precious about how other people are playing.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's some people like, why would you play this? Why wouldn't you play PvP? You're not hardcore or whatever. And they'll sort of have that attitude.
Yeah.
And I think, can you imagine that in any other circle of life with other people's pastimes, like knitting?
Yeah.
If you were knitting and people in public were flaming your knitting and saying, you're pretty slow. That's unacceptable. Why are you using that wool? You should be using this wool. We're just
you knitting a scarf?
Your knitting.
No one fucking wears scarves.
Scarves? That's like tier 1, mate. You want S tier. S tier is hats.
You get this a lot in, PoE is a great example because normally if I'm playing something I'm really into it, I'll watch it as well. I'll watch other people just to see, what they're doing and stuff like that. And what you find is like PoE is the kind of game where if you're streaming it, it's very popular to play it hardcore. And it's very popular to play it like solo self-fund. So that means you have no access to trade. You can't join other people's games or anything. Like, everything you find is your own. And your character has one life. And if it dies, it dies. And what you'll find is like these guys that play this way are very good at the game. They understand all the systems. They understand all the little things that are going to give them the edge or keep them alive longer or whatever. They got all these little tricks and stuff. But then you see their chat and like, there's no way everybody in their chat is as good as them or playing the same way that they are. Right. But they're talking the talk big time, like they're all, the fucking stupid casuals ruining this game. So it's like, okay, man, like you are a casual. You're not even playing the game right now. You're watching someone else play it. Like, that is not hardcore of you to be just watching someone else play the game well. Like, just because you're watching somebody who's good at the game, it doesn't make you good at the game.
Amen.
Like there's like a massive canyon of space between you and that person that you're watching being good at the game. Like, anybody can just turn up somewhere and give it loads, but you probably suck, okay? Just get real. Before you start ragging on somebody else and calling them casual and shit at the game because they're not playing the way that you've decided it needs to be played or whatever, just have a look at yourself. Look in the mirror. It's not you. Yeah. You're not there. God, there's not thousands of people watching you. They're watching the guy that you're watching as well. You're not him. Okay. Yeah. I just thought I'd say, because there's a lot of it, man. There's a lot of it.
Sometimes I play the game and I look at a streamer playing the game and I'm like, yeah, I'm playing the same game. Sometimes I look at a streamer playing it and they're playing a different game. They're like, their game is like, I'm like, have I proven it wrong? Like, how has he got all this stuff? Yeah. What is all this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what you're doing. And that's PoE every time. Like, even after 1,000 hours, I felt so fucking clueless. There's so many aspects of some games that you just cannot possibly assimilate all of the information on.
Well, I think for this game, the devs wanted to slow it down. They wanted to make it more less sort of like screen clearing, quickly and stuff. But there's lots of stuff in the game right now that people have figured out and I think it's a lot more like PoE1 right now. They might change it again, but it's fast. Everything dies immediately. You know, people have figured out builds where you're just melting these bosses that were designed for you to spend like 3-4 minutes fighting, going into phases, having to learn the abilities and stuff. Like it's quite funny, but I mean, I guess it is a community where they tinker around with stuff and they figure stuff out. So it's been interesting, but I don't know. I guess it's early access, so a lot will change, but it's been a ride for sure. It's been interesting. But I mean, I've enjoyed it as well. It's nice to get stuck into something.
You've already finished. You've given up.
No, I'm still going. I haven't given up yet. I should give up, but
I played Tactical Breach Wizards this week, which I really enjoyed. You should check it out.
Is that asynchronous?
No.
Oh, thank God.
It's like an XCOM. It's like a new XCOM.
It's not like an XCOM. Stop saying that. I'm sick of people saying that. It's nothing like XCOM.
It's more like Chimera Squad.
No,
XCOM.
It's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle game. Like a lot of these games.
It's great.
Oh, man.
If you're a fan of XCOM, let me tell you why Tactical Breach Wizards is not going to fill that XCOM-shaped hole in your life. Okay,
this is sounding great.
Number one,
let me tell you something about Tactical Breach Wizards.
Let me push my glasses up here and really go to town, frankly, on the nonsense coming out of your mouth, Lewis Brindley of the Yogscast. Okay, there's some furious typing.
Go on.
So, first of all, there's very little to no customization of your characters.
No.
The guys that are in your party are fully formed characters that have fixed dialogue, and there are some vague options of doing things, but it's a much more rigid storyline. There's no base building, there's no sort of exploring the world, there's no choosing which mission to do. It's a linear playthrough system where you're solving a story, a quest, if you like, as you go through. And there's like cutscenes, if you like, and characters that come and go. And it's every single level that you play, you just breach into a room, and now you have like, oh, this enemy is going to do this turn and that this turn, and so if I do this and do that, I'll push him to there. It's more like a chess puzzle or any of those puzzle games. I'd say it's much more like Into the Breach than fucking XCOM. It's really very little like XCOM, other than there are people and it's turn-based. That's it.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think at the same time, this is a thing, right, where it's really good. The writing's great, the story's great. It's an encapsulated experience. I'm having a blast with it. And I just think that I read an article this week by a guy, I can't remember who was talking, who's saying that he thinks that shorter games and gameplay experiences are increasingly on the rise. These long, epic,
this
slow
is
games.
This Josh Sawyer said this, right?
Maybe.
That's interesting because we got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 coming out next month and Civ 7 coming out next month.
Yeah, which are
neither of which you would describe
long games
as short form gaming. That's some long shit.
A game that you guys, I feel like you guys might like this. I played this game a couple of weeks ago. I did a promotional thing for it. It's Raw Fury's publishing it. It's called Blueprints, and it's it's a puzzle game where you go through this huge mansion, and you got to find you basically pick the room you want to go to, and it sort of forms a layout on the grid, so you can kind of dead end yourself. If you're not lucky, it rolls like 3 rooms, and if you're lucky enough to make it to like the the end bit, cool. But you got to collect stuff along the way. You got to get like keys. You got to make sure you have enough keys, and you got to recharge your steps. You have a certain amount of steps because each day it resets. So you have to do it in a certain amount of days, but each day the whole thing resets. So you have a couple of tries at it.
It looks like Betrayal at House on the Hill or one of these board games.
It's really cool, though.
Where you draft a new tile to go in as this room. So you're going through a room and it's like, open a door.
Yeah.
I would like to go to the foyer.
Some rooms buff. Some rooms can buff like the whole run. Some rooms can debuff the whole run. And like it's just lots of trial and error, figuring things out. Some rooms are just like have puzzles, like math puzzles or logic
but
puzzles.
But I can't imagine
stuff.
This game in its full release is going to take thousands of hours.
I think it's one of those like you're describing. Just a quick kind of
short,
fun experience,
really well polished experience. Yeah. And I don't get me wrong, I like those. I've been looking for those kind of gaming experiences.
Yeah, well, Blueprints, you play the demo, you'll like it. I think you'll really like it.
I'll add it to my wish list.
Did you play the Golden Idol games? Yeah.
No,
I did love them.
I didn't play
they're,
those.
they're fun. They're really, really cool.
I mean,
Yeah, you'd like
I
them,
loved
Sims.
Oberdin. I love Papers,
Yeah, well,
Please.
you'd love this, then.
Those are kind of quick
Yeah.
ones as well.
You'd love GoldenEye.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long, and it really gets your brain ticking. It's great.
Yeah.
Golden Idol games.
The art style and the little animation style is really, it's really endearing.
It's really unique
enjoy
and
it.
kind of
But yeah,
really funny,
yeah.
really cool.
But it's like the
So,
puzzles are
yeah.
quite good. Like they're like, ooh,
It's like the art style is everyone is ugly, right?
yeah.
And there's this great scene where there's like all these models on the beach.
That's the theme of
and
my stream
they're all
as well.
ugly.
yeah, it's funny.
Hey, it's kind of funny. I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's just great.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
Yeah, really good game.
I like games like that.
What have you guys done other than gaming in the last week? Anything?
We are back in full swing. Tradesmen visiting our house all the damn time,
my
finishing
God.
up this
Why are
job.
you doing this? Just burn the house down at this
Well,
point. It's
yeah.
man,
beyond saving.
it's got to be. It's. I mean, we got the loft is done. The kids
Right.
are up in their rooms. The rooms are done. The bathroom is almost done up there. Just needs some fantastic mastic. And but the thing is, the rooms that they moved out of hadn't been touched since like the 80s. Like they're in, you know, they got all these old shitty dingy like plug sockets and skirtings and stuff. So we're freshening those up because one of them is going to be our youngest's new room, and then the other one's just going to be a spare room. But I mean, like the carpet's like completely threadbare. You know, like it just hasn't been touched. So it seems stupid to just get a bunch of work done and then just leave a bunch of stuff unfinished. You know, so
Yeah.
it sucks. It's a bit of a slog, but hopefully when it's all done, we just won't need to do anything for a very long time. Everything will just be up to good standard, freshened up and everything, and we're good to go. So that's what they're doing now. They're fucking replacing ceiling tiles that are because there's so much weight up in the loft now that there wasn't before. So stuff is, you know, underneath the floor, underneath on the ceiling, especially, is cracking and coming loose and stuff, you know, where it wasn't before just because it's old and brittle. So,
oh God,
yeah,
what a nightmare!
It has been a nightmare. Yeah, it's been a lot of. Reminds me of Tarkov actually, because every time a room is done, we have to like shift a load of stuff into it. And like it's like inventory management on crack. Our house right now. There's just fucking piles of
like
stuff
the
everywhere.
That
gets moved around. So these two rooms, when they're finished, everything from our bedroom is gonna which is where everything is being stored at the moment. It's just like an episode of Hoarders in there. All of that stuff is going to get dispersed into these two finished rooms, and then finally they can come in and actually do our room. So that'll be the last thing. So we're talking like weeks. We're weeks away from completion.
Oh baby,
great!
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. There's some big news in the Forsyth household. We got a new lamp.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow! What did you call it?
Well, lamp 3.
Jeez.
Lamp number
and what's
3.
the voltage on that bad boy? Is it like one of those? Is it used like one of like the shaving plugs? You know, like that's, or is it just used like a normal plug?
It's a standing lamp, like a floor lamp.
Wow!
It was one of those things. We had the Christmas tree up, and obviously that's lit up, but it's got the lights. And we got used to having that extra light in the living room. And when we took the tree away, we realized how dark the living room was a lot of the time. We were like, "Fuck, it's so dark in here. We need a lamp."
How do you switch it? How do you switch it on? Is it like got a little
floor button?
It's got a floor button. Okay.
Yeah.
And is the
floor
floor
one
button
that's on the cable?
Do you have to do like yoga basically to reach it, or is it in a very accessible place?
It's right there.
Oh man, you're living the dream.
I know. This lamp. It's changed our living room.
We got our lamps like behind our sofa, and so you gotta be like a contortionist to get back there.
Oh no.
And there's two of them, so you click one on, and then you have to like sort of shimmy along the back of the couch to click the other one.
I hate that.
It's no good,
dude. Do you have to get them like linked into an Alexa plug or something?
Yeah, well that's it. That's why I was asking about the low voltage, because there's like a low. You can get low voltage lamps that
you can get the bulbs. The bulbs are actually
smart
Bluetooth,
bulbs.
so
smart
they turn
bulbs,
on.
Yeah,
and on.
I think
So
Philips do a smart bulb as well.
Well, I tell you what, much easier than that is you just flick a switch and it's on. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, but you could say it. You don't even have to move. You can be an actual.
I don't mind.
Alexa, turn my lights on. Turn
That's
on
what
living
this
room
is.
light number 3.
Don't do that.
It's just
so
turn
many
it
people
red.
that will happen. So I actually have got a house viewing later today.
What?
I know.
Whoa.
I'm going to see a house.
What, just for fun, or are you thinking of moving
No,
in?
he's taking the plunge. He's gonna be a big.
Finally.
He's gonna be a big boy. He's gonna be a big boy property owner in this economy as well,
In
Lewis.
this
You're insane.
economy, you are insane.
I know.
But whatever.
I don't know why.
It is what it is.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
But I just had a phone call from the estate agent though, and so I've just had a missed call. So I don't know whether they're going to cancel the viewing.
No, they're not.
God
They're
knows.
probably getting like food ready for you and everything. Man, a estate
Right,
agent
okay,
is
that'll
not
be
going to
it.
be canceling a house viewing in this day and age. They are fucking
You think?
desperate. Like
Not in winter.
nothing is shifting. Well, over here at least, it's pretty bad.
What's your advice for me? Like looking at the place, like what should I watch out for?
Make sure
First,
it's the
don't
boiler.
take a place. Don't look at a place and say we can change this and we can change that. We can change this. Make sure that the place you buy is good to go right out of the
Right.
box. No changes needed.
Can you leave all this? Can you leave all the furniture? Can I ask
Well,
that? Can I just have everything?
Not so much, but just
Can I have all your stuff?
Like if you go to a place that this is where I'm going to put my current furniture, I can see that it's going to look fine. It's going to fit. I'm not going to have to make any changes. The minute you have to start making changes, it's over, buddy. You're dead. Like don't
Right.
change
I
your
disagree.
house.
I disagree with that.
Don't have anyone
You're not
in.
going to find a perfect house.
No.
Like, there's going to be stuff where you're like, I don't really like that. But as long as it's not like too grand,
Yeah.
too much of a grand design
Don't
situation.
extend. Yeah.
You could be like, oh yeah, we could just change that. That's no problem.
Oh,
Anything to do with decorating.
Oh,
or
if it's
decor,
decorating, that's
easy.
fine. Yeah.
But yeah, if it's like some fundamental structural problem you have, just find another place that
Yes.
doesn't have that.
Gotcha.
But I agree with that. But the number one thing is the neighborhood.
Oh,
Above
yeah.
all else.
Yeah.
Like you want to make sure what's the neighborhood like? Like even if you like the place, come back in the evening, see what it's like in the evening.
Yeah.
Like genuinely.
Do they have a good?
I think
do
that's
they have
where-
a good internet connection around there?
Number two
Yeah.
is what's the internet like? Because if it's dog
No,
shit,
Yeah.
that's a big problem. I mean, Bristol has a big problem, just like London does. Like anywhere that's historic, apparently the internet is not compatible because it involves digging and running cables, and you can't do that everywhere. So check that.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I think if you have a good feel for a house, that can be great. But then when you get the surveyor in, which is a very important thing, the surveyor will come in and top to bottom survey the house and come back to you with a list of problems that he could see,
Yeah.
and things that were negative about the house. And sometimes it can feel like, geez, this is so many things. But it's their job to find every little detail. So they'll be like, the flashing around this part of the roof looks a bit bad. Some of these tiles aren't great. Bit of a question mark about this brickwork. The pointing on this side of the house needs redoing. These drain pipes are not fit for purpose. Drains look small, and internally they can't move anything.
Nah.
So sometimes people will conceal things from the surveyor. But generally, the surveyor is an experienced person, and they'll know. Like they'll come in and say, like, well, that shouldn't be there, and that's clearly dodgy, and this piping is old as fuck, and
I would
probably
say
need replacing. So the survey is super important.
I would say if the survey comes back, if it's an older place and there's asbestos, I would walk away. To be honest, it's not. It's not.
I can't
worth
imagine
it.
that would be a thing, but you don't want to.
It
fuck
is a
with it.
whole can of fucking worms. Because depending on the type of asbestos it is, and if they have to come in with the hazmat suits and create an airlock and shit like that, it sucks. It takes forever. It costs a lot. Like I would not bother. Some of the asbestos is like not as bad, like in some of the older building materials, but then some of it is super bad. And when it's super bad, you have to get, like I said, they got to come in. It's like the scene where ET is sick in the whole house. It's like that,
Mm.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
I would walk away.
I'm not gonna buy somewhere with asbestos, and I think honestly, like if you were trying to
it a
sell
new build?
somewhere with asbestos, no, it's not a new build. It's like it might even be listed. That's the problem. It's not
Oh
doesn't
my
say,
God.
but I sort of looked. I tried to Google around, and
Well,
I
mate,
sort
you
of
should
found a
get
thing
the
that said it might be
If
a
it's
listed
listed,
building.
I would just not even turn up to the appointment.
No, me neither. I
Get the
don't want
blue
to get a
plaque
listed
on there
building.
that says Lewis Brindley of the Yogscast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed. You have to apply to be able to fart in your listed house. So
Yeah,
would
I
not.
understand. So
touch that with a barge pole. No, I mean it may not be too bad, but it's like moving is so stressful. But like depending on the type of place that you're moving into, it could be even more so. So
Well, the thing is, this place I'm looking at, I saw it a couple of months ago as well, and it sort of it went off the market after a couple of weeks. So obviously, someone made an offer, and I asked the guy on the phone. He said that someone had made an offer and it'd been accepted, and then they got married, and then because they were married, they counted as a single entity or whatever. So that one of them already had a house, and so they would have had to have paid second home stamp duty, which would have been like an extra sort of 50 grand or something insane.
Right. So it fell through.
And so it fell through, yeah. But I guess like that's a shame. But also like I do feel like certain houses in certain locations do go off the market quick. So I feel like if I like it, I can't really mess around. I don't know, there's this pressure, but I know that's the estate agent will say to me, oh, we've already got 10 people interested or whatever. I'm just like, ugh, I hate the whole.
Is it like way out of the city
process? No, it's like just on the edge of the edge
so
of
you
town.
could still like get to the office.
And honestly,
easily,
I'm not too worried because I know loads of good places are going to come up in the next, like in March and April and stuff. But I of course, after everyone has this New Year's resolution is to sell their house, right, and move house, and so there's this glut of them coming on the market in sort of March and April.
I'm never selling my damn house. Not after all this. You're standing on a pile of rubble. It's like that's my hill. I'm staying here.
I'm gonna die on this hill.
Yeah, right.
That I built with many men.
Yeah, many men
coming.
Many
men.
Yeah. No, well, good luck. I mean, it's exciting looking around houses and stuff, but also try not to get too discouraged because sometimes it just takes a little while. Don't rush it. Make sure that the place that you get is like ticks most of the boxes, if not all. Don't compromise too much.
Right,
don't feel like rushed into a decision.
Speaking of something, this summer, I've just been reminded, we're thinking of going to Japan for a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice.
That will be the summer holiday.
Yeah.
And the kids are incredibly excited about it.
I bet, yeah.
It's quite a long flight, but I figure 2 weeks is fine. What tips or tricks do you have, Lewis, as someone who's been there? And if anyone wants to mail into the mailbag about a potential holiday in Japan, what's good? What should we not do? What kind of barriers are we going to face? What's the language going to be like? I know someone said you need a lot of cash because paying by card isn't as common over there or something. So
it might have been changed since COVID, though. Like that's the case. I didn't actually even use my card once when I was on holiday for 2 weeks over Christmas because I think everywhere's just got little beepers now. That was in Spain, obviously, but I think Japan's changed a lot since then. My advice is not to go in actual summer because it's fucking hot there during the summer months of July, August.
Well,
so
that's
probably
when we're
September.
going.
October.
Well, that's your first mistake.
Having kids that have summer holidays is the thing. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it'll be hot.
Yeah, that's all right.
So make sure you stay somewhere that has
How hot
aircon.
can it be? It was fucking 36, nearly 40 in London a couple of summers ago. So it can't be much worse than that. I'm sure they're used to it.
I think they have aircon and stuff over there too. I think
they do.
They're up on it.
There is so much to do though. You can spend like easily. People will write in and give you their trip.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
But I've got a friend of mine actually lives there and is like.
If it's your first time going, how long are you going for?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends like what kind of stuff you like doing generally. But I mean, Tokyo is huge and there's tons to do there. Like you wouldn't run out of things to do or see in Tokyo. And I guess you'd probably want a couple of days where you're just chilling and stuff too. Not really doing too much. But there's shopping. There's like historical things to see. There's, just the atmosphere of the place generally is, it's crazy. It's a huge. There's like 30 million people live there or something. It's wild. Yeah. But I don't know. Cause I when I went, we just stayed in Tokyo. We didn't go anywhere else. We didn't travel out.
Yeah, no, we're going to do a little traveling and we're going to take the bullet train or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good. The Shinkansen. Yeah, it's worth it. Honestly, you'll have a great time. I couldn't recommend it more. Everyone, I couldn't recommend more going to Japan for a couple of weeks. It's like the most alien place.
But they really don't speak English, do they?
No.
They do in Tokyo. There's a lot of signs in English. Outside Tokyo, it's harder, obviously.
Okay.
But around the tourist areas,
we had to do a lot of pointing.
And so much of Tokyo is the tourist areas.
Went to Subway and ordered a sub and had to point at all the toppings.
Okay.
Like it was... It depends. Some people are fine, and then some people just don't speak a word of English. Just
I'll get the old Google Translate out.
Yeah,
I guess that way.
Yeah. We live in this crazy day and age where it's not as much of a problem. Like when we went in 2007, and there was a lot less of that available. So it was like, I mean, I think we still had a book with like common phrases we had to like read, and it never worked. It was awful.
A phrase book. Yeah, it was a different time.
Domo origato. Like, it's just like, I don't know what we didn't have a clue, but people were generally like nice, helpful, like understanding. Like it was fine. It was fun.
Okay, this cannot be right. This is the Google Translate for I would like an Italian BMT sandwich with tomatoes, lettuce, and ranch dressing. Okay, are you ready? This is in Japanese. Tomato, retasu, ranchi doressingu, osoeta Italian with an R, BMT, sandwichu, o onegashimasu.
I really want you to.
Can you film the whole trip, please?
With you doing that.
Sandwichi is amazing. Sandwichi o onegashimasu. I'll really try and practice it. Ranchi doressingu.
Oh, man. You're going to have a lot of fun, I think, in Japan.
Yeah, I think you will. Yeah.
Oh.
It's
just put a U or an O on the end of shit. Hamburgeru. And they'll be like, gotcha. Yeah. Apparently that's like, we've had emails about that before, actually. People saying they got in a cab and they were like, oh, can you take me to the Hilton Hotel, please? And they're like, huh?
Go
like
to
Hilton Hotel. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Go to Tokyo Disneyland just for one day, Flex. Go check it out.
Maybe? I don't know. I mean, it's already the flights alone are expensive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about Disneyland tickets as well. And also,
the tickets are expensive, but if you're not actually staying over there, it's obviously a lot less, just for the day. Yeah, I don't know. If your kids aren't into it, but some of the new stuff looks nuts. Like, it actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Flights alone. Oh, God. Yeah. In 2 weeks. Yeah. Oh, my God, man.
I mean, the thing is, the yen is super bad at the moment.
Is it?
Like, Mrs. F was like, the Japanese economy is in ruins. We should go there.
That's the best time to go.
Yeah. So it's like reverse economic migration, right? It's like the yen is super weak.
Yeah.
We should go.
Yeah.
It's even tempting to buy some yen now in case they recover by the summer. I don't know. But so it's really cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know that when Lids and Rabs and I think Tom and Ben went out there actually last year, they said it was amazing and they had a ton of fun and that it was nowhere near as expensive as they thought it was going to be because of the Japanese economy.
Yeah.
It is mad. It is mad.
God.
Do you think that the biggest problem for the Japanese economy, apart from I know there was some banking problem they had a few years ago now, is that they used to be this big export country and everybody bought all their electronics from Japan?
I think they're probably just
now
running...
China's taken over?
I think they're running out of 12-year-old girls because I was told that the entire Japanese economy is hinged off the back of young girls buying like stationery and toys and stuff like that. This is what I was told.
Hello Kitty is in tatters.
Yeah.
The economy was entirely propped up by Hello Kitty.
If they're not having as many kids as they once had before, and there's no...
Well, that's true.
They're running low on young girls. Maybe that's why the economy is suffering so much.
So the birth rate in Japan is an average of 1.26 births per woman.
Okay, and how many of those will turn into 12-year-old girls?
12-year-old girls. Well,
half.
I would say half.
Well,
not quite half, because some
you
of
say
course
that
will
so
sadly
confidently, but
perish before
you
they
don't
get
know.
there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but so that's lower than Canada, which is 1.33, and the US is 1.66. So the birth rate has been declining since 1970. It's been a steady decline.
Right.
So obviously that means
less girls flooding the market.
Less 12-year-old girls flooding the market and buying stationery is one thing, but also pensions. You have the age life expectancy in Japan is high, so you have a aging population that is sucking money out of the economy without contributing, dare I say it. They already did their contributing, but now you need other people to come in and contribute to make up for their lack of contribution, and it ain't happening.
Demographics. Yeah, I mean, they don't look great around the world. The more, like, I think South Korea has a less than one.
Yeah,
so
it's not great.
Each woman has less than one child, which means population's going to shrink quite dramatically. But they're also, these countries are notoriously anti-immigration. Though.
Yeah,
Both of them, Korea and Japan, are very racist against each other. people coming over there. They're racist against Chinese people coming over there. And so they're really anti-immigrant. So they hate the idea that
somebody's going to come over and steal their jobs
and help their economy and look after them in their old age. Yeah.
they don't want anyone
very
going
strange.
over there to steal their gerbs.
Yeah. I think we're in a strange situation there. But no, I don't think that's too much of a thing yet. I think it's a thing that's a worry in the future, P-Flex.
No, it's bad now.
I think they've had problems already. Yeah, well, I did see there was like a article about a Japanese train that was running just for one student to take them to school, which just feel like a very Japanese thing.
Was it a 12-year-old schoolgirl? With a backpack just fucking bulging with stationery.
she's having to do a lot of heavy lifting to keep that economy going. She's having to buy so much
corrective spine surgery because the backpack is so heavy.
So to give you some idea, by 2070, they expect the population to fall. It's projected to fall by 30%.
Shit.
Yeah. So that's 50 years.
Yeah, but dude,
we're all going to be dead.
No, we're not.
It's hard having kids, though. You can't
think ahead like, oh, well, 50 years, who cares? I mean, by that token, why do anything for the future at all?
But think about it,
the fact is, it's happening now.
Yeah.
And they have to do something about it now.
But think about it nowadays. Okay, you have a kid. You still both need to work. It's almost impossible now for somebody to stay home with your kids.
You wait, okay. You go to Japan, P-Flex, and then you tell me that it's a problem if there's 30% less people. You go to one train station in Japan, you'll be like, I wish there was fucking 80% less people in this train station.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it is fucking rammed.
It is rammed.
Everywhere is packed.
It's not like a desolate ghost country.
If there's 30% less people in Japan, they'll be way better off, to be honest.
You wouldn't even notice.
I don't know if that's true.
No, but
it's fucking packed. But you just wait, honestly. It's one of the most densely populated
They think it's a
on Earth.
crisis, and you're saying few less people sounds good to me.
I think it's like everywhere.
Everything has to be growing, though, right? Everyone's obsessed with the idea that we have to have more of everything, right? And I think finally only people are coming around to say maybe we should have less of a few things. I don't know, less like pollution and less, I don't know, just less.
But Lewis,
less
that's a problem for the future.
Unnecessary tax.
Oh my
that's
God.
50 years' time. Who cares?
30% less people is not a problem.
Okay.
If anything, it's a solution to a lot of other problems.
But it's who the 30% less is, though, because it becomes a problem when there's nobody to come up and take on important jobs. You know, if you got a country full of 60-year-olds, well, you're doomed. You're nothing's going to happen. You're not going to have any doctors. You're not going to have any teachers. You're not going to have. And then they are going to have to get them. I mean, it's happening everywhere already.
Listen, we live in a global economy, though. Like, there's countries like the Philippines who train up nurses and send them across the world, and they work everywhere. Like, that's not great for them.
No, it's not great. I don't think that's like at all sustainable, though. I think a lot of that stuff needs to be pushed in our countries. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be more incentive for people to get into these jobs because they mostly suck. Like, fuck me. Imagine being a teacher.
Yeah, but they don't want to pay.
I can't think of anything worse.
It's very hard to pay people this money, apparently.
Yeah, but they also, like, I think even a long time, well, I say a long time ago, even like 50 years ago, it was much more common for somebody like a couple to have a house that was big enough to have a couple of children. I think the average age of somebody moving out of their parents' house now is like 30 or something. It's fucking insane. Like what the hell are you gonna do? You can't even get one foot on the ground. Like you're both going to be working for sure. Like there's no way that somebody's staying home and looking after kids in your postage stamp sized flat. What are you going to have? 4 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment?
Hey, look, I am not arguing against any of that.
Yeah,
you're right.
There is zero incentive for people to have kids, and then they're wondering why nobody's having kids. Well,
yeah,
fuck me. It's not that hard to figure out. I mean, most of you guys have managed to make so much money. Like, it is kind of simple economics. Like it's really not difficult to see why people are choosing not to have children. Like, it's just impossible.
Oh, completely. Yeah. I think that, but this is it. We live in a economy, and if people want things to happen, they have to encourage those things to happen. You know, if you want to make it if you want to offer subsidies on growing corn, everyone's going to grow corn.
Yeah.
Like that's how it works.
But like the cost of childcare is astronomical. It's
no, exactly what I'm
not
saying
even
is that countries
that safe half the time. Like there's every other week now.
These things are so complicated, though, Sips, right? That we've got this massively interlinked global economy with all these different problems going on, and which one's the most important. The world is so difficult to grasp, and it sounds so simple, let's get all of Bill Gates's money, let's get all of Bezos and Musk's money and give it to teachers, and they can all get pregnant, and then we have more 12-year-old girls to buy tat and plastic crap, and then we save the world. Okay, let's write that down. Let's send it. I'll write a letter to
for
Keir Starmer.
Teachers, though, I think a long time ago, maybe there was more incentive to do it because it was a more respected job. I mean, probably children were different a long time ago.
Listen, we totally don't respect teachers.
Class sizes
and a
are
lot of the people who
enormous
do
now. Like, I can't believe my kids' classes have not just one teacher, but they'll have a teacher and like 2 teaching assistants. We didn't have that when I was a kid because we just didn't have 30 people in a class when I was a kid.
So we did have 30 kids in a class. But there was a difference, certainly from what I've seen. When I was younger, the kids who were special educational needs, who were disruptive, who were a problem, went to a special school.
They don't do that anymore.
They don't do that. Now they put them in
your kids
the
basically have to
population.
Yeah, and then your kids basically spend half the day cowering in a bunker while
dodging these kids.
Well, this one kid is just off on one, throwing chairs around and breaking
I'm
windows.
Not kidding. That's literally what happened.
I know.
I was talking to my youngest about it the other day, and she said, I was talking to my friends the other day. Primary school was crazy. I'm like, why? And she was like listing all these things that had happened where it was always the same 2 or 3 kids who were just hitting people, smashing chairs over people. One of them had a stick fight with the headmaster. Like, he had a massive stick and he was coming at the headmaster. The headmaster was like defending himself with a smaller stick from this kid. And there was teachers in tears because they didn't know how to cope with these kids. It's unbelievable. So you then have these teachers on these frozen pay, people bitching about, they went on strike because they want more. Oh my God. Like, you have all that
There's
shit.
There's not enough money in the world that I'd take to have to deal with kids.
Who would do it? You're a saint if you do it, honestly. So I will not hear a fucking word against teachers because I know exactly what it's like.
We were all little shits in our time. Do you know what I mean? And we've all
I was a very good
teachers.
boy.
I was not.
I think there's certain things you could all associate with, and that is one of them.
I was on report all the time. Academically, I was very bad.
I was in the
but in
hallway
terms of
all the
behavior,
damn time.
I was very good. I was very good.
Too much talk and clowning around all the time.
I did get chucked out for talking, but that's not disruptive.
No, well, it is. That's why you got
but they just boot you out. It wasn't like hitting people and shit.
No, it wasn't like I wasn't having like a psychotic episode every time I was kicked out. I was just
that made us into the men we are today, guys.
What, getting stood outside and then Mr. Hawkins would come around.
That was
our
Vietnam.
He would say, "And why are you in the hallway?" And I'd say, talking in class, Mr. Hawkins. You'd say, "It looks like you'll be having detention with me after school, boy." I'd be, "Oh, God. Yes, Mr. Hawkins." He was a loon.
Yeah. We had a couple.
Well, sometimes, the teachers had their own way of controlling. I guess it does make sense to have a couple of assistants in there because certain teachers could not handle the class, and others did it with their technique of being mad, actually insane. Like a couple of teachers were frighteningly, and they would flip on a dime as well and be like shouting at you and crazy, and then they'd be back to nice again, and it's like, they were the ones that you treated really carefully,
I mean, my daughter was telling me the other day that her teacher, one of her teachers, was just interrupted the lesson to berate the kids for 20 minutes about how they were never going to amount to anything and they were failures and it was a disgrace and all this stuff. And I'm like, I sometimes wish I was there so I could at least step up and defend them in some level. Because, I mean, I just feel like as much as I have respect for and love teaching as a profession, there are some teachers that are so fucking bad that it's like scarring to kids.
I mean,
and changes their view of education and that subject forever.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
a good teacher will absolutely change your life, but a bad one can too. And I think sometimes people forget that there are some really shitty teachers out there, and they just don't seem to get found out, and it really pisses me off.
There's the GPs are the same, you know. Some are incredible, and some are dire. You know, like
it happens. It's
it
any
happens
profession.
everywhere. Yeah, but
it's like my stepmother always says, "What do you call the person who finished bottom in his class in medical school? Doctor." I was like, "All right, fuck." So, you know, some guy scrapes through doctor school and he's still a doctor.
You could be a doctor of all sorts of things. Like, I mean, look at Dr. Dre, just generally a doctor. But you could be like a doctor of music. You could be a doctor of the arts.
Look at Dr. Simon Clark.
Dr. Simon Clark. You could be Dr. Simon Clark.
I'm tempted every time I see him.
You could be Dr. Phil.
I've got a rash.
What a roller coaster ride that's been.
Dr. Simon Clark, I've got a rash on the inside of my elbow.
I've got a really itchy asshole.
My penis is sore. Can you look at it, doctor? Oh, I'm not that kind of doctor. Oh, really?
Well, what good are you then? I got a sore penis here, for Christ's sake.
You're walking around calling yourself doctor, and I'm walking around with a sore dick. Neither of us
I've got to go to this house view, so we have to stop.
Oh, let us know what it's like. We're going to do another podcast.
We're going to do it. The next episode we do of the podcast is going to be Lewis telling us all about his new potential house. Oh my God.
Well, tomorrow we're doing a mailbag. Do we want to do the house viewing next week? Do we want to talk about it next week?
No. If he's going today, it's going to be fresh. Tomorrow
we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we're talking about tomorrow.
All right, cool.
I can't wait.
We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Goodbye, all.
Bye.